Okay, so we've washed the fleece from Jigsaw and put it in our dryer. I've already processed a couple of levels of that. I'll bring it down here into our little bucket for picking apart. This fleece was full of burrs, like Nagura burr, khaki burr, you name it. If it's got burr at the end of it, it's in there. I throw all the scraps and rubbish in there that aren't going to come up, just the shorter fleece, and sort the better stuff into here. Okay, I've got a Ashford, I think it is, 10-inch drum carder, and I found with these 30-litre drums, if I get it up to about that height, that's enough for a decent roving once I get it off the carder. Okay, just to clarify, Ashford 8-inch drum carder, and I have it set on the slowest roll for the big drum. Sorry, the slowest roll for the small drum. Nice slow feed in, and if you can tell, our dining table pulls apart, gives us a lovely gap underneath the carder for the rubbish to fall into a bucket. Okay, and that's just a matter of first run through. Bit by bit by bit. And if you watch this brush across the top here, you can get it to feed on pretty even, just judging from the way it sits up on the drum. Okay, there we go. First run through. Obviously. Oop, focus. Just come over cloudy. We'll get this one off. Start again. Okay, first bat. First run through. I like to pull them apart, then apart again. You'll notice the difference after 2 or 3 runs through. So that was the top, and then once I get them quartered up, I pull them apart again, and then try and open them with all the fibres in line as best you can. You do this 3 times and you'll really see the fibres all start to run straight, and then you know you can do your final run through for your roving. And I don't know if you can see, but there's still a lot of grass seed and rubbish in that. I just pick it out slowly as I go, and every run through it becomes clearer and clearer until eventually you have fleece. Okay, that took several minutes, but that's our first piece of the first bat run through. Yeah, colloidal silver on the bench there, I've got to get to that, and I leave that bat as best I can in its place and run the whole thing through as one piece. Anything that doesn't really want to take up just goes in the bucket under the table. Okay, here we are with the last piece of the bat with the first run through, picking out quite a bit of vegetable matter, but still there's more in there, I can assure you. So little bits of pill and the like that just will come out. A couple more runs through to go. Okay, this is the second run through. Still grass seeds in it, but you'll see that the fibres are starting to all come straight. The more you run through, the better those fibres become. Once again, we just pull that section open. Run through it. Grab some more grass seeds and whatever else is in there. And feed that through as a complete section. And you'll eventually have all those fibres running true. Okay, this is the bat after the second run through. Obviously a lot lighter. Ready for our third run through. All the fibres are very much in uniform now. Pulls apart much easier. And it's just a matter of a final inspection. Make sure there's no more grass seed. Any of these little pills that have showed up right to the end, best to pull them out. They just get in the way when you're trying to spin. One more run through the carder and then we make our rove. Okay, now to get the roving. Start the roving. Just got a little piece of wood with a couple of different size holes in it. I just generally take this middle one. It's about maybe 6 millimeters, something around there. Back off these. Drop the belt off, makes things easier. Although it looks a bit clumsy. And yes, just whatever comes through that. As we go. Not the most thrilling of processes, so I won't bore you with the whole thing, but I'll come back when I get a bit more done. Right over the other side now. It doesn't all come off the drum in one go. Generally what I do is just carding brush. That will just pull out into a piece of roving that I use generally to start. Okay, there's our roving once we got it off. 9 litre bucket for comparison, and we'll just do a weight check. So zero that. Drop our roving in. 46 grams. That's probably enough. And we've got some freshly made calendula oil just to throw into the mix, not into the wool. Okay, let's start to put it onto the bobbin. A little bit rough to start with, but we get rid of that. This is just that first piece, sorry, that last piece I took off the carder. It's just pulled out. We'll join on the main part of the roving when we get to the end of this one, but it's kind of a slow part of the process. Most of it is really, but that's what editing's for, I guess. We can probably speed this part of the process up on the video side of things. This is just a little Ashford, I think they call it a traveller wheel. There's a slightly larger one, but to be honest it goes too fast, I think. I'm flat out keeping up with this slow pedal process that I've developed. Coming up on the end of this piece, and we'll join the main piece of the roving on. As a disclaimer, I've only been doing this. This is my first sheep's fleece. I've done 3 small alpaca fleeces just to try and get the hang of this contraption. Practice makes perfect, they say. I need a lot more practice. But there we go, we've got to the end of that. Just feed on the main part of this. This roving should get us somewhere between 40, maybe 50 meters of this yarn, which won't quite fill this bobbin, but I find it's enough by the time you've sat here and put this much on. I won't bore you with the whole process, we'll come back a bit later. Okay, last little bit of this. Still finding little bits of grass seed here and there. And once again, I couldn't do this for a living, but it certainly is enjoyable. More grass seeds. And there we go. Okay, just to show you, you don't need rocket science. This is just a couple of bits of wood, bolt up through the middle. I've got 22 inches between the pegs. It's just a free spinning, I don't even know what to call it. Just a contraption to wind our bobbin from to make the hank, which we will then put onto the ball spinner. All just very manual. Quite stay on there, but once you get started, you get the idea. Okay, that wasn't a bad guess. So that's it on my little winder, and I guessed I'd get between 45 and 50 yards of yarn. Calculating there to there times the amount of turns, we've got 47 yards. Okay, so that's the one I just took off our winder. These are some, I don't know why, or I'm not even sure where, but I remember somewhere saying that you should let the wool rest in that hank for a little while before you put it on the ball spinner. So these ones here have had a good rest, so I'll load them back up onto here and wind them up onto here, and then we go on to the next step. Okay, the recommended way for doing ply is that you feed these two balls in onto this flyer, only you reverse the rotation of the flyer. But I put at least 3 of those bobbins on every one of these balls because it just seems inconvenient to do such small amounts. So I've made a prototype out of just bits and pieces. Give you some idea of the size difference. Just old bits of pine. I bought a little 12-volt motor with a reduction gearbox. Just made the pulleys out of pine. That orifice there is an old tent peg, just drilled through. A bit hard to see in there, but I've just put a little bearing in there out of a rotary hoe idler pulley that was getting a bit squeaky, but is good enough for this job. And then I've just put a 240 volt to 12 volt transformer on the back, but I've also left plugs there so I can just plug it straight into a 12 volt system if we were to lose power. I'll get it set up and we'll see if we can't ply these. Okay, I've just had to set it up. She's powered up. This is, oh, you can't really see it, reversible speed, variable speed. So we're in reverse to go back the opposite way to the flyer, and we'll see how we go. Seems to be working alright. It's just a matter of keeping the tension right so you don't wind up with one of these just winding around the other one rather than having them wind evenly. Just a matter of technique, one that I haven't developed yet. Okay, we've got a little bit of it on there. I'm slowly getting the ply working. This is just a small weight. I think it's like 20 something grams, just to act as a drag, just to pull the yarn on, but not to cause it to pull too hard. The belt is just a bit of kangaroo hide that came off an old leatherworking job. We'll continue. course you can go a little bit faster if you want, once you get things working properly. The faster you go, the more likely there is for something to go wrong really quickly. I'm sure there's a way to make it fly really evenly, and I think it's like all things, you've just got to put in the time and get the feel of it. You just got to make sure you keep those tensions even, so as you get it a nice even fly all the way along. We'll come back when I've got a bit more on there. Okay, we're very near the end. The last little bit without too many tangles, I hope. Spoke too soon, almost got a tangle. Almost at the end now. Not quite getting the wind right, but okay. A little bit left on one ball, but nothing on the other, so this is where we finish. We'll run it off onto the ball winder and see how much we've got. Not overly sure about the quality of these winders, but I think you get what you pay for. This one's just a little bit wonky, but it does the job. We'll come back later. Okay, probably could have gone a bit more, but I guess that'll do us for now. Let's see how it knits, crochets. No idea what it's going to be, but there you go. Apart from the washing, which was in another demonstration, this is every step right through to whatever it's going to be.